oaks or any kind of oaks, but black oaks are great. You harvest them and then you dry the acorns. Like I dry them in baskets, like these baskets I have, or those cardboard boxes that you get like soda cans in. You can get them at the grocery store. And if it's sunny, you can lay them outside.
How will you know when they're sufficiently
I
dry?
should do it at least for a month, and then you can open them up. And they're, you know, like how walnuts, you know, when they're fresh, they're squishier, and then they're not totally hard, but they're hard enough where they seem cured, basically. But here's dried acorn.
Do you get insect larvae in them very often?
Yeah, you do. There's a filbert weevil. They're little tiny larvae that'll come out. When you're harvesting, gathering, you try and, here, I'll pass these around and you can just get a feel for how hard is hard. For dried acorns, and then if they're shelled, I keep them in the freezer. But the filbert weevils will come out, and then when you're harvesting, you try and avoid the acorns that have holes in them, but they still will be in there and come out as you're drying sometimes. So sometimes you'll see little grubs in your house. No, it's happened to me. It's like on my hardwood floors. I was like, where did this come from? You know, and I looked at my basket. It's like, oh, okay.
So
extra protein.
They come out and everyone's like,
yeah, well, sometimes when you shell them, you'll see the frass, basically the poop in there, and looks like termite droppings. So it depends. Sometimes it's just one section and the rest of the acorn.
Hammer it anyway.
Yeah, you just open them up. It's not a big deal. Yeah. I mean, if it's really moldy or something, you know, or looking really bad, the whole acorn, you don't use it. Yeah, just like nuts. So like here's one that had a critter. If we have a rock, somebody could crack that open. So you dry your acorn, and there's still tannins in here, right? That's the thing. You don't want to eat these raw, at least not our species. There's a few species in the world that are called sweet oaks, and they don't have tannins, and you can just eat them right off the tree. And there's emery oak in the southwest that's like that. And then you shell them, like those ones I showed you. This is traditional. They'd be shelled. They'd be stored whole in a granary, like a big basket above the ground, and then shelled, and then pounded into kind of a fine meal, actually finer than this, but this is what works for me. So kind of like a rough flour type of a thing.
Did you say you could eat them like this?
No. You could take. You know what? If you guys want to taste it, though, you're welcome to just take a little nibble and see what it tastes like at this stage.
I understand. You're not grinding.
You're pounding, and then what I do is a coffee grinder, but it is pounding because you don't want to be grinding rock on rock. The traditional way is with those mortars, right? The big bedrock mortars, and so you'd be pounding till it's really fine. Because then when you leach and get the tannins out, it goes really quickly. Because that's what this is. So that's what we did this morning, is I ground the acorn, put it in here, and I poured water through it. And this is the water that got collected.
that's acorn water.
And that's acorn. This is really tannic. If you drank this, it'd be like, wow, stringent. But that's medicinal. It could be good for poison oak, gums that are like boggy and, you know, swollen, that type of a thing.
So, before you leach them, will it make you sick, or does it just taste bad?
It tastes bad, and if you ate a lot of them, you'd get a stomach ache. But yeah, you should taste them.
It's not very good. They're not very good.
Yeah, you know, you can get a sense of what they're like at this stage. It's good to know. It's not tasty. Yeah. You know, there's a little more phytochemicals you're getting.
How about the water afterwards? Is it good for composting or putting?
I don't know about composting, but
Pretty tannic,
it's pretty tannic. Maybe tanning a hide. So now I'm going to talk more, but I'm going to put this in here because the tradition then is to cook it into a meal, and that's where I need your water.
Now, you only had to pour water through it once?
Well, to fill it up to this stage. So about a gallon for a cup, up 1 to 2 cups of ground acorn.
And sometimes didn't they soak them in streams?
Yeah, the whole, and that's, you know, when Europeans showed up, this was more the technology of grinding, pounding, and
with the coffee baskets. I like it.
Yeah, well, it's the same idea. It's the same idea of just something. It was a sand basin.
You can unscrew the hole.
Yeah, I think that's actually better. So I'm going to add about maybe an equal part of water. Great. Thank you so much. And let's get this lit. And so cooking baskets would be the way to go. And actually, if somebody wanted to look in this box and pull out a book called Oaks of California, there's a picture in there in the middle about historical use. Oh, you know, this other book has a really good picture in it too. too. In the back of this book, here we go. Here's traditional acorn processing as well. And there's 2 pages showing the pictures, the cooking baskets.
Is this hot or cold water that you strain through?
Oh, didn't matter. It was just regular room temperature. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
It'll strain it no matter what.
Yeah. I don't get specific about that. I don't make it hot. Okay. So, I'm going to cook this up. Has anybody tasted acorn before? Well, cool. Yeah, you can see how it's pretty thin, huh?
Yeah.
Get it up.
Is that meal gonna expand?
Yeah, it kind of
As it
expands
absorbs
and
the
thickens.
water?
Yeah.
Okay.
So while that's doing that, we can talk about what can we talk about? Well, questions about this. So this was cooked every day. This is a staple, starchy staple for California, but also for any of us who have ancestry in Europe, Syria. There's recorded records of villages living off of acorn even up to like the 1930s. You know, this was a major part of the diet. Up to 50% of the diet for California Native Americans, which is unusual. You know, they weren't diversifying their diet as much once they started using acorns. It's like, wow, this is an abundant food. See, it's already thickening. So I could have added more water, but I don't need to because I wanted it to thicken pretty quickly today.